palettes this month. That is an awful lot of eyeshadow palettes that I've gone through. Crazy. So anyway, welcome back to my channel. Just disclaimer, I thought that this lipstick was gonna be brown. This is from the Colourpop, the new collection. It's not new, it's like been around for a year, but this is the collection that I just picked up last month. I thought this was gonna be brown. Like, doesn't that look brown in the tube? So I put it on. It is so dark, it looks black. It's like a purple black. And so I wasn't expecting this, and it is an ultra matte lip, so you know, it's gonna be hard for me to scrub it up. I really didn't want to do that, so I left it on, and we are very, very vampy today. Thankfully I did an eye that kind of goes with a vampy vibe, but I really wanted something a little bit more brown, and this is very, very dark. So excuse the lips because it's a little bit shocking for me to see it. Alright, so before I get started, what I'm going to do is going to rank all of the eyeshadow palettes that I've used this last month. A lot of these are palettes that have been in my collection for a long time, and I do have some newer palettes or brand new palettes that just came in October. Before I get started though, in preparation for this video, obviously I lined them up and I stacked them up. And when you do that, you do end up with casualties, and sadly, I have a pretty nasty casualty. So along with the eyeshadow palettes that I was gonna talk through, I actually also went into my singles palette. This one right here. This has pastel roses in it. It also has any depotted shadows that I've repressed myself. Now, it's kind of my fault because I've just opened it up and it looks absolutely awful, and I don't have the energy or the mental space to really correct this at the moment. But I'll just show you what this is looking like right now. I went into this palette this month, was gonna rank it not too high, but yeah, can you see that in the mirror? Can you see the mess? I obviously don't want to tip it over, but everything is moved. There is product everywhere. Oh, I'm so upset. Yeah, so this is what we're looking like. So, big gulp there. I will look at this another time when I can be bothered to clean up that mess. So I'm not going to include it. So there were, what did I say, 18 or 17 palettes? There's one less now to rank, just because that's quite scary. It doesn't look like any of the pastel roses were affected. It just looks like all of the recent shadows that I depotted a few months ago have all just like crumbled and like gone everywhere. And honestly, if they're all just gonna start mixing together, there's no point me keeping those. So I might just end up saying goodbye. It might be a time to say goodbye. But anyway, okay, whoa, let's get into it. Oh my goodness, long intro. Okay, I'm just going to rearrange this before there's any more spillage. Okay, so I would say my least favorite palette that I went to this last month, this has been really hard because I do generally like the palettes in my collection. That's why I've narrowed it down to how many I have. When I do my declutters, I don't just get rid of like 50%. I get rid of the ones that I know I'm iffy about. And I know that there are some in my collection that I'm still iffy about. So I actually purposely went into quite a few this month that I hadn't been in for quite a while. So first one is the Sigma Corda Rosa. I pulled this for my Shop My Stash actually, and I did go into it. And for these rankings, a palette is qualified to be ranked if I go into 2 or more shades from the palette. So I definitely went into 2 shades. I don't know if I went into 3. I'm gonna rank it at the bottom. It's just not, I always thought that this palette would be spectacular and beautiful, and it just always disappoints me. I think it was fine this month. I think the mattes are fine. It's just always the shimmer quality that I just never find that fun. I think it's just not a fun palette to play with because it's just too finicky to get what I want. So I would say that one would be at the bottom. Another one, no surprise, is my own Zide Jewels and Gems. In terms of a color story, I love this, and I actually have a shade from here in my Pan Those eyeshadows. So I've been going into this a lot. This one currently is in my Pan Those eyeshadows. And I also pulled this palette for my Shop My Stash because I wanted to get some use. It was one of the palettes I hadn't used yet this year. And I did go into a few shades. It's been fine, but it hasn't blown me away, and I still feel the same way as I've always felt about it. It's just, I don't like the shimmers in here. There's only one that I actually like, So it's fine. It's fine. It's just nothing special, but yeah. So I'm ranking it here. I do like the matte that I'm trying to pan. I paired that really nicely with a gold shimmer. It was really beautiful. So I think I will be able to hit pan in it pretty fast because I'm enjoying it. All right, so I think these next three are kind of gonna be in line with each other. I don't think it's fair to put one over the other. They are also all palettes that I have said that I really love, and the formula is really beautiful on all of them. There are 3 different brands. I have nothing bad or negative to say about them. I just feel as though I didn't enjoy them as much this month as I expected to. So the first one is this one, the Nouveau from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I've always really enjoyed this palette, so it was kind of a surprise when I went into it this month. I was not really blown away, or I was feeling a little disappointed with the look. So it's not that I haven't used this palette and I don't know the colors. I do know the colors really well. I went into Fleur. I also went into this shade Lily and probably Metro. I don't recall any others. And generally, I just felt it being a little lackluster. And I wasn't pleased overall with how the eyeshadow looked on my lids, and maybe it was just those colors and those tones I wasn't feeling at the time. I've never not liked this palette, so it was a little bit like, that was a little weird. And I don't know, maybe it's just getting a little old. I don't know, maybe the formula's going. Just felt incredibly more powdery than I'm used to from her. I know ABH is typically quite powdery, but it just felt like it was a little different from when I first got it. So I don't know if it's changing at all, but it's sad. It was sad to me. So because I like this palette. So anyway, I'm going to rank it here because that's generally how I felt about it. This is another one where I love this palette. Traditionally, I love this palette. This is from Nabla. It's the Dreamy palette. I think for the last 6 months or so, this is currently in my year-long project pan, which I will have an update for you this month because I do want to make changes to that project, just so it works for me a little bit, because I've realized it's not really working for me right now. This is in there where I have to use all the shades and I have to hit pan in them and whatnot, and obviously you can see that I have not done that. I don't know what it is, I'm not enjoying this. And this was even like a pan that palette contender for this year. Like last year I was thinking, I'm gonna pan this palette. I'm so glad that I didn't, because I now really have not thoroughly enjoyed these. And it's interesting because I've always thought that this palette and this formula was very similar to ABH. I don't know what it is, but I like ABH. So what is, I don't know, but it's a weird thing. So anyway, this one I'm ranking lower. I went into a few shades. It might be the tones. It might be that it's quite mid-tone, rosy pinks, and if anything, I've been more into icy, sort of cooler pinks and purples, and these don't really lean towards that. That also might be another reason. So I'm fully aware that it could be the color story and the time of year, so I'm gonna leave it to that. Another one, this was also low last month, is my Earthly from Beauty Bay. So it's because I was just going into the greens. I mean, this is ultimately a green palette, but it does have a lot of neutrals. I was just feeling bored. But for my Pan That palette in order, I have a new plan of what I want to do, and actually it came from 2 of you. 2 of you commented on that last video and made suggestions that were very similar to each other, and I think it will work out for me, so stay tuned. But I did end up going into a few more shades in this palette, so obviously I can rank it, because right now I'm trying to hit pan in this, but now that my feelings and thoughts have changed, I might have to just rename the project and not be Pan That palette in order. It'll be a Pan That palette cubed maybe, or squared. I don't know, you'll understand when I talk about it. But I did go into a few other shades. I don't want to spoil what I'm doing now, so I don't want to say. And I love the formula, of the quality, but I'm just, because I'm not allowing myself to go into every single shade that I want to go into in this palette, I'm ranking it lower just because of the colors that I went to are not my favorite. I think, yeah, I'm finding it hard to rank these palettes, to be fair, because I really do like all of them. All right, and then we have this one. This one I think I also pulled from my Shop My Stash. I don't recall, it was 3 weeks ago. How could I forget? But yeah, I just don't remember things anymore. Okay, so this is the MAC Star Sighting Compact in the shade Fuchsia. It was a holiday collection a long time ago now, and I went into it and I enjoyed it. It's pretty, it's MAC. You can kind of rely on the shades to look pretty on the lids. I don't have anything to say bad about it. I don't have anything great to say about it. I think I went into these two shades. I actually don't think I went into these four. I went into the top two. So not too exciting, but this is obviously a gorgeous sort of inner corner. I actually could have put that on today, and I've always really liked this mauve shade. So it just worked for me, and I paired it with another palette. So that one I enjoyed, but still like not at the top tier in terms of the palettes that I used. Okay, and then my project level up, what's your power? I think I've realized that this is just not versatile enough for me in terms of like an overall palette that I really enjoy. I think it's a beautiful companion palette, but as a project level up, the level 5, it is definitely hitting me the wrong way, and I am struggling with this one because I don't necessarily want to pair my project level up palettes with another palette, because the whole point is to get a lot of use out of this palette and pan, so I really have to focus on this one, but it's not the most cohesive color story, and it's just not the right color story for this time of year, especially with my taste changing. So I'm really struggling with this one, so I'm going to rank it lower. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the quality. I really love the quality, you know me, but yeah, I think realistically it's just not super versatile, and I like really versatile palettes where there's contrasting colors and tones, and you can grab it and you don't have to just have the one look or just absolute bright tones and there's nothing else to tone it down, which I think this is the problem, which is fine for spring and summer, but we're just not there anymore. So yeah, I'm gonna rank it lower. Okay, this one has been all right. The Muse from Cosmic Brushes. So I did go into this, and this was also pulled from my shop, my stash, and I really enjoyed the look that I created. I think I went into it again, and I think I might go into it again before I change my shop, my stash, because I would like to get more love into this. I really actually enjoyed it this last month, and it did feel a little different to when I used it back in April or springtime. So I think it's just the vibes. It was just the season that kind of made me feel differently. And I went into the purples this last time, and it was really enjoyable. So I think I might do that again, and maybe the lime greens, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, I enjoyed it. So this one, I'm ranking it, I guess, in the middle. There's still quite a lot of palettes to go. I don't know how I went into so many palettes this month. I do pair some palettes with other palettes, so that's why I kind of get a lot of use, but still, it's a lot of palettes here. Okay, then we have the new neutrals from Gloss Gods. This one, wasn't not in my shop, my stash. Oh no, I don't think this one was either. So what I did was I put together a list of palettes that I wanted to use for fall, autumn, and I kind of put them to the side so that I would remember that I want to use them over the next few months. So I think the Muse was in that pile, that's why I grabbed it, and I think this one was as well, and then I have a few more down below that were. So this one I really enjoyed. I've always really enjoyed this palette, and I tried to do something a little bit different this last time, because I feel like the last few times I've used this palette, I was like, do I actually like this palette? But I do. I just wanted to have a little bit more fun. So I did. I was really bad at taking photos. I don't think I took any photos of my looks this month, so I can't show you what I did, which is kind of annoying. But it also like helps me remember what I did, because I'm like telling you, and then in the back of my head I'm like, did I do that? I mean, that sounds vaguely familiar, but I also don't even remember what I had for dinner yesterday. So, you know, it's just like one of those times where I can really only focus on what's in front of me at the moment, because there is too much going on and too much chaos and just too much distraction at the moment. Life is a bit crazy right now. So anyway, use that one. I enjoyed it, but yeah, not one of my favorites. So then I have the Urban Decay Stone Vibes. This is my Pan That palette for the year. I won't talk about it too much, but yeah, let me just see. How many do I have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 8th place. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. It's looking like that. I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired of this one, but I do like it. I just used it again yesterday, and it was a joy. Like, it just, you know, I use it whenever I can throughout the month. I still want to hit pan in this, so that's kind of my focus. So whenever I'm doing a look that can take this shade, if I can remember, I go into it. And I tend to go into these two a lot too. The shimmers I haven't actually been going into that much, although I did go into Tiger's Eye the other day. And then this one I would like to hit pan, but I'm not entirely sure. Oh yeah, and also went into Bloodstone as well the other day. And I did like a darker look, because I'm in that dark era. I'm in my dark era. I'm enjoying it, so, Okay, moving on, we have the Flower Moon from Ensley Rain Cosmetics. I am forgetting what everything is called. Okay, so this one was a newer palette for me, and I only tried it for, I tried it for a 3 Looks 1 palette back in September, and I really wanted to pull it again for the fall. This was my fall palette list, and so I did this last month. I might again also this month, who knows. Really enjoyed it. I think it's really beautiful and stunning. I have nothing bad to say about this. If anything, I think it's too big, because it's a little overwhelming, because I still don't feel like I know the palette fully. So that's why I keep like trying to go back to it, because I feel like I've maybe used every single shade now, except maybe 1 or 2 of the shimmers. But I still have yet to feel like I truly know this palette and I know exactly how the shades are going to perform or look on the lids. And it's just, that always the case with new palettes. But because this is quite a big palette too, and there's a lot of different tones and shades, I don't feel 100%. So I'm not ranking it any higher than it is. It's ranked pretty high. I still really think it's beautiful. I think the formula is beautiful, but I can't say for sure I love this palette more than anything else, because I just think I don't know it as well as other ones, if that makes sense. This one I feel similarly, and it is a similar palette. So this is from Lunar Beauty, the Moonshroom. Again, this is part of my fall palettes that I wanted to use, and I did go into it this last month. And although not quite as big, it does have a lot of shades, this one. It is quite different. The formula is completely different to Ensley Rain, and took me by surprise. Honestly, with Lunar Beauty, I thought it would be a little bit more of your indie, like your typical indie quality. But I think honestly, this is kind of a mix between indie quality and mainstream quality. And I don't say that in a bad way or anything. I just think it's really stunning and beautiful, but way more subtle. Like, I think the shades are super metallic and beautiful. They, from what I've seen, don't crease as much as well, but they're not as impactful. Like, they don't pack that punch. Aside from maybe this one, which is absolutely stunning. I love that one. And this one also is really pretty, but they're just a lot more subdued. But that's also the color story as well. So I love this. I think it's so beautiful, and I think it's more wearable, honestly, than the Flower Moon. That's why I'm ranking it just a little bit higher. And I think it's just stunning. I think it's really beautiful. So I'm very pleased that I did end up buying this. But I also do feel like I just haven't spent enough time with it to like feel 100% about it. You know what I mean? Okay, this one I've used a lot. So this is my Huda Beauty Huda Mercury Retrograde, and I love this palette. I think it's beautiful. I wanted it for so long before I bought it, and then I bought it and I didn't use it for like 6 months because I was too afraid to use it. And then I started using it, and I think it's really beautiful. I don't think it's my favorite palette in my collection. I think there's definitely like these 2 shades I'm not a super fan of. For one thing, Nebula is more of like a glitter, and then Ultraviolet is just a little dark, and I don't know, it just doesn't pack that punch that I think these other ones do. But also, this is like part of her older formula. I'm definitely not getting the new one because I saw it has like those glitter ones, and I'm sure it's going to be the same quality as that. The shimmers do not look good in her new palette. I don't know what you guys think, but I was looking at swatches and that did not look good. So I don't know if you've tried it, but yeah, I think this is beautiful. And also very wearable. This is also part of my year-long project pan project, and I haven't gone into it that much, but whenever I think of palettes that I can use from that project, this one is always the one that I gravitate to the most. I would really love to get more pans in here, but ultimately I think I have to roll it into another project to do that, because that project is just not helping me hit pan. And I thought it would, but I don't know, I need to figure out a way to make me hit pan, you know what I mean? This next one's gonna surprise you. It's gonna surprise you. It surprised me, but I'm gonna put the Avatar Air palette here. So last month, I ranked all of these. I got all 4 of them from the Lethal Cosmetics collection, And I ranked this one lower than the others, and I ranked this maybe like middle of the road in terms of like all the palettes that I had for September. This is 4th for this month. 4th. I do have one shade in here that's for my pan nose eyeshadows. So I am going into this a lot, and a few of those times when I've gone into it, I was like, let me just play with some other shades. Why not? I'm here. And I loved it. I loved the shades that I did. I thought they were so beautiful. And I was like, oh shoot, am I wrong about this palette? I still have not gone into the red. And yeah, I think that's the only one I haven't gone into. But I went into this one again, and I did like those 3 with this one, and then I think this one. So basically like this little 90-degree angle. Beautiful. It was so beautiful. Honestly, this is such an interesting shade. It is gorgeous. It's a purple, but it has like a taupey brown to it. I can't describe this color. Like it looks like a taupey greeny khaki color, and then it has purple. Am I just the only one seeing that? It is so beautiful, and I was like, oh my goodness. And so I went into it a couple times actually, to be fair, and I'm going into this a lot. I'm gonna really try to hit pan in it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, but we will see. So yeah, I'm ranking it here. I really enjoyed this last month, surprisingly so. So yeah, that was a huge shocker. Oh my god, it's so pretty. Let me just, if I swatch it, do you see it has, it's like taupe. Oh, it's just pretty. It's just a pretty, gorgeous shade. I really, really love that. Anyway, okay. So the next 3 are kind of interesting. I didn't know how to rank these because I honestly just went into them the once, and I really thought they were pretty, but I need to go into them again. But I also felt bad for ranking them lower than anything else. So I'm ranking them in the top, at least these next 2. The first one at the top is kind of a surprise, but I think it belongs there, just in terms of what I've been feeling this month. So the first one here, number 3, is the Glaminatrix Rich Romantics. This one is brand new to me for this month. Looks like this. It's really beautiful. It's so beautiful. I just haven't played around with it enough, but I thought the quality was really stunning. And this is also another like little duochrome, which you don't really tell. You can see there's something there, but it was actually really pretty on the lids, I thought. And I can't wait to go into this part of the palette. I just know this time of year I'm not into these shades, so I have to wait. But this part of the palette, stunning, beautiful. You have these gorgeous brown taupey shades, stunning, beautiful. It's just like what I'm going for. I'm going for like these cooler tones, so I went into the cooler tones in this palette, and I really, really enjoyed it. I thought the formula was gorgeous. Yeah, some of these, I'm just looking, if you look to the side, some of them are like green. There's like flashes of green. Do you see that? Do you see? Do you see? Yeah, so a very fun palette, but I haven't played around with it enough, but I don't want to rank it any lower than that. And then I also really like the Haunted House from Colourpop. So I think these 2 are pretty on par with each other. They're completely different, but I feel like they're on par with each other in terms of my feelings towards them, because I really liked both of them. But this one I'm really enjoying. Yeah, this is very pretty. I think because there's contrast with light and dark, which I've already spoken about in previous videos, and I think this is also the good Colourpop quality. I have nothing bad to say about this palette. I thought all of the shades were stunning and beautiful. Color story is fun, and I didn't have any issues playing around with it and just figuring out what I wanted to do. I really like this palette, so yeah, I wanted to rank it high. Obviously, I need to go into it a little bit more, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. And now the sun wants to pop out. Right when I've like fixed my lighting, because it was so dark today. Now, there you are. You're trying to pop out now. Okay, well, anyway, we're almost done. This is the last one, but I have the color Rain from Gloss Gods. So as I'm filming this right now, I am trying to do a 3 looks 1 palette with this one. I did say that I was gonna do it, but when I said that, it was like back in April, spring, and I did not want to use this palette. So now that I want to use this palette, because it's the perfect It's the perfect, actually, I need to do this. All right, I needed to draw my curtain. It might be a little dark now, I do apologize. But anyway, this is what the palette looks like. It's just gonna give you a better understanding of what it looks like. And I have one more look to do before I post that video. So I've done 2 looks so far. I think this is so much fun. And I've been using the black for both of the looks and then topping, you know, these over the top of it. And it's been really fun. And honestly, I did a look that I didn't expect to be able to do with this palette. So even though you look at it and you're like, actually, I mean, it does look pretty versatile. There's a lot of colors there, but regardless, there's like no mattes. It's a pure shimmer palette with a black. I didn't think that I would find it very versatile, and I have. So I can't wait to do my last look and then post that video, but I really enjoyed it this month. So it's just been the last couple of weeks that I've like pulled it for those 2 looks, but really enjoyed it, and perfect time of year for me to enjoy it as well. So yeah, I really, really like this one. And I think this is one of the ones that they might still have on their website because everything just keeps disappearing. I think they still do have this one. So yeah, potentially. All right, those are all the palettes that I used in October. A lot. I guess I wore makeup almost every single day. I don't know, it's an awful lot. But like I said, a lot of these palettes I did pair with other palettes, and I've just been trying to keep up with all my projects, but also put time in and also just do makeup looks that I want to do, not that I'm forced to do. And I think that's the feeling that I'm getting with my Project Level Up. Because it's so bright, it's hard for me to go into that and feel joy because I don't want to use those shades at the moment. So that one's a little bit of a struggle, but everything else has been such a pleasure, and I actually really enjoyed all the looks. I wish I could show you like the actual looks itself. I just have not been taking any photos. Maybe I posted, what, 2 of them on Instagram? I think that's probably it. But anyway, that is the video. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you'd like to, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.